Hi guys, welcome to Let's Talk BD, the official podcast of the BD School, the first educational platform entirely dedicated to business development. Here we interview business development professionals working in the field every day, as well as startup founders, so they can give you all the insights, tips, and best practices to help you become a better business development professional. Let's get ready for the next episode. Everyone, welcome to the new episode of Let's Talk BD podcast. Today with us there is Sep. Hey Sep, how are you?
Hey Luci, how are you? Thank you.
Good. So everyone, Sep is one of our students. So he took the 5-week live training last year. After that, he became a business development mentor, and he was so much in love with the BD school that he actually joined the team as business developer this year. So we worked together for 3 months. It was a great experience. We got to know each other even better. And we interview him today to actually share with you how it is to move your first steps in business development. That's really what we're going to talk about today, how you can get started, what are the first things you should know. So Sep, without further ado, can you tell us a bit more about your career so far and also a bit more about you?
Yeah, Luci, it's a pleasure to be here. So as Luci mentioned, my name is Sep. I'm from Iran, and I've started my BD profession 4 years ago. 2 years of this was in Iran, actually, and the previous 2 years has been in Turkey. So right now I live in Istanbul, and I've got to know Luci and BD School a year back, more than a year back. Like it has been a year and a half now. Time is moving so fast. It was in the beginning of the pandemic. And I was looking for new ways to learn about business development. As I was searching, like always on Google, how to do business development better, asked some questions. I got to know the BD school, and that was how I got to know Luci. And since then, I've been in Turkey. I've been doing more market entry. So my business development here in Turkey was helping firms going from Iran to Turkey or Turkey to Iran, helping them with their pricing, their strategy, or how to get to go-to-market strategy and things like that. And it's been quite a challenging experience. I'm still learning in this field as well right now.
Nice, Seb. That's really cool. And actually, I think that's also a question that many people ask themselves, like, why should I choose business development? I receive this question very often. So I'm tired of answering it myself. So I ask you, why is it good to choose BD? So why did you choose business development in the first place?
As I know from you as well, we kind of led to business development. We weren't kind of choosing it in the first place. And for me, as I was studying the profession, I was a copywriter at the beginning. And then I moved to products and doing some product development with the team, helping them research and tell them what's good to add or what's good to kind of omit from the product. And then I kind of wanted to know of why we are doing the business, at the heart of the business, what's really happening, and how I can really help my firm grow, and through any kind of not only just product in the business, in the marketing or any other place. So I got kind of moved from the product to the business side and help the CEOs or help the marketing teams or help the sales teams with their back office, I could say, how I could kind of gather information or do some analytics to help them decide better. And that's when kind of I got in love with BD. At that time, I really didn't know the term. So we kind of knew that there is a position that Sep is doing, but we are not sure what he's doing, but he's helping us. And whenever I ask my previous colleagues, do you know about this term, business development? They're not really sure. And they're not really sure what it's what the actual role is. So this is how I got into the BD. And when I kind of took the BD school and learned about, okay, this is what everyone is doing all around the world. What I have been doing was the research part of it, and what's the sales is maybe part of it, or finding customers, finding marketing, and helping the marketing team. It's were all part of this experience. So that's actually my process of doing the BD.
Nice. That's really cool. And yeah, indeed, as you mentioned, I also ended up in this field a bit randomly, but still then we fell in love, and that's great. So you touch upon many different aspects of BD. So you mentioned product development, and you mentioned also copywriting and so on. So you actually did many different things in your career, and then it all led to business development. So, and we all know that BD is not just one thing you do, it's multiple things. So what type of BD roles did you have so far, actually? So what were you doing in your day-to-day job?
So I can say when from the product team, I ended up in the CEO's team. We were a team of 6 people. We were kind of a critical decision makers of the firm. It was more strategical in that case. What I was doing was really, for example, we wanted to move toward a certain direction. It was a little uncertain what we were going to expect or who we can work with, finding partners, finding customers, how that can be done. There was an initial research had to be done in order to realize what are the opportunities in that place. For example, at one case, our product wanted to apply something and it was something that everyone was doing. And the team kind of asked me, is it a good path that we should go to? It was a little product development, so we wanted to add a feature. But at the other end, it was really a business decision. So I kind of went and benchmarked all of the customers, all the partners, or all the opportunities out there and tell them in a kind of maybe 2 or 3 page report, this is a good decision to make. So my job in my previous firms were really, really research and getting up with solutions and with answers. So I wasn't actually the one making that decision. I would provide the kind of all the information for the CEO or for the CMO or for CPO, for everyone in the C-suite, so that they want to make the decision better. I was really a decision facilitator. So this was actually my role in the previous firms that I worked with.
Awesome. That's really cool. And I really like the way you put it, like decision facilitator, because at the end of the day, that's a bit what we do in BD, right? So we're there trying to find new opportunities and deciding if that is the right opportunity to pursue as well. Because, I mean, let's be honest, the world is full of opportunities, but I think as good business developers, we also need to decide where we put our focus, because otherwise it's very easy to get lost in BD. So, can you get back in time, with your head to your first business development experience? And can you, describe a little bit how was your first week, how you felt, what did you experience in your first days?
I can I vividly remember those days as it was asked from me because I was then working in the product team to Sep, could you come to a new role so that it entitles some of these things that you should kind of help us, like I mentioned, decide on some stuff, but we don't know what to do. And it was all very ambiguous. The task was really ambiguous because they told me, so the final target is not really clear. You should be the one to clear the path for us. And at that time, I didn't know even what the role was. And the problem was that the managers and the CEO, they didn't know what the role was. So they couldn't really tell me what are the guidelines or how you can do your job better. So the first weeks or months maybe was a little frustrating for me as I had to figure out myself. It was at the end rewarding because I kind of figure out how to do and kind of tell the next people joining the team. I told him like, you should do stuff like this because it's when we want to kind of search for the answers, it's the way to do that. But the actual problem at first for me was that as the firm didn't know what the job really is. So it was a little kind of hard for me to figure everything for myself because the job itself was quite hard. But at the end, because I was the one gathering those information, still those reports are there. When I go to the firm, I see my sign like under everything that they're still using that info to decide. So it was a lot rewarding for me. But of course, the first weeks was all on me. That was a little hard.
I can imagine. And how did you go about that? Let's say if you didn't know how to go with the specific, maybe research or like specific task, like how did you deal with that? What did you do?
The problem is that at the time I didn't know I was doing things wrong. It was years later, like 2 years later, I realized, oh, I wasted so much time at that time because, for example, I needed some answers, how to get to certain industry or how to develop something. I would just simply type all of it in Google or someplace else so that they would bring me answers or kind of how to prioritize what I found or how to even put them together. In a case that maybe some customers would need that information, some partners would kind of benefit from that information. I didn't know any of that. I just, for example, the question was, is this a good decision? I would just type that in because I didn't know what to search for. And the process of searching for what to search for was kind of a long thing to do. And right now, for example, if someone asks me, Sep, we want to do this stuff, what do you think? I know the process that I should go to in order to get to that decision faster. But at that time, it was kind of me, myself, and realizing what tools I should use. And the tools are really important because many of the tools I learned in the BD school, but some others that I learned from this job and that job. And I said, oh, this could help me 1 month if I knew that before. But at the beginning, it was like I was a little helpless. Yes.
I feel you. I think it's probably the same challenge for every new BD, maybe everybody that starts a new job. It's like, oh God, like you work so inefficiently. And I remember for me, it was the same. First time I had to do market research. Like I remember there was this part was pesto analysis and I had no clue what it was about. I was like, what is this now? And I did the same. I just went on Google, I asked, and then I tried my best and somehow I was good enough, at least for that time. Good. So I think this was then one big challenge, right? So to, really, make your way around. Like, were there other challenges that, shaped your first days as a BD?
The other challenges could be, I guess, in our previous talk, I mentioned a couple of times, was persuading everyone because I was the one kind of talking to customers in the exhibitions. I was the one there talking to customers, talking to partners here and there. I was full of information, but this information had to be kind of, I should have used that in persuading the managers into deciding what is good or what is bad. So many of the days in the meeting, I was just trying my best to kind of persuade the CEO or other C-levels about the information that I've gathered. And as this role wasn't really set in the firm, for example, if someone asks, what is Sep's role that he's saying this stuff? I would say he's a business developer. What is a business developer? I don't know. They knew what a marketing manager does or what a sales manager does. If they told something, they would know that it's coming from someone that is actually in line with what the customers think. But this was kind of a challenge for me to talk to everyone about what is good or what is bad. And at one case, I was trying to find that information. And at the end, if I had all the information, it was even harder to kind of pass them on to the team. So I would say for the firms which doesn't actually have a BD role or their BD role is mainly a sales role, it would be a challenge for someone who's actually trying to grow the business. But for firms that have the idea of what a business development role does, it would be much easier for someone who is actually doing that.
Nice. That's really true. I completely agree. I've been in companies where they had processes laid out and, they had very clear ideas of what they wanted from BD. And there I was very successful. And then I was in companies in which they did not know and I was not very successful. So I can totally relate to that. And how about the learnings? Of course, well, if I look back at my first days in my career, like there's so many things that I learned, in those first days. What were your main learnings? Maybe your top top 3 learnings that you had in your first days as a business developer?
This is actually what I tell my other friends who wants to start the business. I would tell them that the BD role could be some place that you would start something, because it's full of learning and it's full of self-awareness, I could say, because in the past, especially in the past 2 years, what BD role has done for me is to better understand what my capabilities are or where my weaknesses are, so that I can work on them in the learning process. Because it's whenever you are searching for something that you don't know, or you're searching for something that would grow your business, you would also search for stuff that would help you to be a better person or be a better professional. So I would say this part helped me with my personality, was kind of a huge step for me, because I wouldn't imagine I would have that experience in any other job. Because when you know exactly what you do in your day-to-day life, it would take time that you would say, okay, maybe this thing that I'm doing do not reflect who actually I am. But in BD, daily I would kind of when I was doing my work, I would ask myself, is this the thing that I want to do? And many of the answers was, yes, this is exactly what I want to do. So I would say maybe, and kind of self-awareness and persistence. These were the things that kind of really helped me be a better professional.
Also, that's really cool. And I'm happy that you mentioned, self-awareness. And because I think, business development is really a job in which you get, you really need to know yourself. Let's put it this way, because you always interact with so many different people. So if you don't know yourself, you can get, you're going to struggle. Let's put it this way, because you have to interact with just so many people that it can really get overwhelming sometimes. So, building up on that, I know that business development for me was really, in a way, it also shaped my personality and it shaped the way I am today. And after 13 years, I can safely say that, of course, it was a big part of my personal journey. So how about you? How do you think business development shaped your personality in these years?
The one thing I would say is that I actually changed a lot in the past year, I could say. Maybe it was because of the pandemic or many other stuff that happened. And as I moved from Iran to Turkey in the last 2 years, it has been a challenge itself. And actually the BD helped me to kind of manage these kind of challenges. I would say I had become a lot tolerable with surroundings. The things changed from around me. I'm not, as I mentioned to many of my colleagues, I'm not really good with change personally. I do love to manage the change because I really hate it. And as I came from, for example, I changed my countries. It was everything has changed. But what I've learned in BD, it was how to kind of manage all those changes around you. So it helped me in a great extent to do it personally and professionally. For example, when I wanted to change my job, change my industry, or change everything else, I knew how to adapt or work myself in the new environment. Although I didn't really like to do that, but sometimes it's inevitable, so you should do it. And I know if I didn't have like some BD experience or BD professionality, I would struggle so much personally. So it helped me a lot in that case.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sep. And, because, now we're talking about how business development, basically can shape your personality and your life, what piece of advice would you give to someone, that wants to enter business development, maybe it's at their first experience, or maybe someone, that is working for many years, but decided that business development is more in line with their personality. What would you suggest them? What are some pieces of advice that you would give them?
So as in the stories that we've mentioned till now, when you start kind of a BD work, this is something that I had kind of debated with my friends. They would tell me to maybe find the best place to work or start somewhere and you would find your way. And I was always in the second group. So I was debating it would be better to start early and starting in places like BD that would help you kind of figure out what you want, would kind of shape in a year or in 3 months or in 6 months in an internship or in a firm, would help you realize, okay, this is something that I really enjoy or this is not something that I like. For example, when you start somewhere that is very technical, you may spend years figuring out how to do that job perfectly. And maybe after 5-6 years, you will understand, okay, this is not the place that I wanted to work in. But in BD, I guess it's the opposite. It would help you understand what you want to be. So for me, I spent like 2-3 years to figure out, okay, BD was the profession that I would really like to pursue. But it could have happened sooner if I actually started it even randomly, just in a BD role to figure out what it was. It would help me know many of the things that I had learned through the hard work of the couple of years much earlier. So I would suggest kind of that starting a BD role, even if you are a tech, especially for those who don't exactly know what they want to continue in, this could be a place to kind of learn about yourself.
Awesome. And well, of course, we are in love with business development. So from my side, there is always a yes, you should enter in business development. What do you think, Sep? Is business development the right career to pursue? And for what type of people would you suggest business development?
I would say as it is there's a wide spectrum of things that you could do in business development. As for myself, I'm really an introvert person. So, and I learned that in the maybe so I've tried a little and I tried a little sales and didn't do sales. I just came back to analytics. I would consider myself an analytic guy. So there was a huge opportunity for me in the business development, as there were so many questions to answer in firms. But on the other hand, for someone who wants to be more near to customers or wants to talk every day how they're doing or what they can do better to grow your business, I would say I'm a little more extroverted person. It's just terms like introvert or extrovert, someone who loves to talk to customers, I could say. There is still a huge opportunity there as well, and a lot in between. So I kind of told the 0 and 1 part of it. But at the end, as business developers work with products, work with sales, work with partners, work with CEOs, with everyone. So everyone would find some place to kind of love, I could say. And as I mentioned earlier, it is in the heart of the business. You would feel the value. Because when you find something, maybe you find a good partner to work with, or you find a channel that brings a lot of customers to the sales, you would see the results much more vivid than many other kind of departments. So it could be a very promising, and I mean, people could be very happy in this role.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sep. And of course, for those of you listening, you know that we always like to do a tour around the world when we do these interviews for our podcast. And well, Sep comes from a beautiful country, which is Iran, and is currently living in Turkey. So Sep, for the travelers in our community that would like to visit these two countries, do you have some suggestions, maybe things to see, places to go, especially now that finally we can travel again? So what recommendations would you give to our audience?
Yeah, I could say for Turkey now, saying it for Iran would be a little hard. For Turkey, as everyone would know, Istanbul is kind of a target for many people to come to visit in summer, as we are at the end of summer. So probably next year, because it's already cold now. But many people come to Turkey and go to Istanbul because it's popular, but many of the Western cities like Izmir or Çeşme or Fethiye or Marmaris, they have beautiful beaches with a lot of restaurants. So I could tell people to not to come to Istanbul because it's crowded, much more crowded than you could imagine. And as for Iran, if you manage to go there, and I know it could be a little hard for people, but I would suggest everyone to visit my hometown, Shiraz, and you may probably know the wine that is named after our city. And it's kind of a symbol of Iran in many of the historical sites to see. And I would suggest those.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sep. Now you really gave me the willingness to travel as soon as possible. And hopefully we're going to manage to meet soon in person. So let's see if hopefully everything goes well. But Sep, thank you so much for this interview. It was amazing to get your perspective, especially because you're an insider. You are from the BD school, so it's nice also for me to, after a few months, to know how your experience was with business development. So thank you so much, Sep, for sharing your experience with us. And everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to see each other at the next episode. And of course, in the meantime, follow us on LinkedIn and social media to see what we're up to. Thank you so much, Sep, and see you soon.
Thank you. It had been my pleasure. See you soon.